Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Economics 101, a current affairs program that looks at issues to do with the national economy. And in this program, we invite experts in economics to help us unpack these complex economical issues. Now, my name is Kurtley Gwindi, and in studio today we have invited Mr. Farai Zizhou, an expert to do with issues concerning economics. Mr. Farai, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Indeed, it is a pleasure to be having you here on Economics 101. Let's get right into it. What can you forecast as people's expectations from upcoming November budget, and what do you think should be addressed by the Treasury this year?
I should look at the crystal ball because when you try to forecast what other people are thinking, it's not the easiest of things. But however, I will speak on behalf of the public. I wish I had sufficient time to ask around, but I've had some experience, and I'll be able to maybe speak on behalf of the various publics. I've divided these publics into quite a number because there are different expectations that accrue to each and every one of those publics. So I'm going to speak about, first of all, it's everyone. What is everyone thinking of? Everyone is concerned about the currency issue. So what measures is the minister going to be putting forward in the budget that are going to stabilize the currency? Because that's the most important thing. A stable currency implies also, as we have witnessed in our economy, a stable pricing system. So those two are linked. So that is what everyone is looking for. But departing from everyone, we have to look at, I would say, the different publics. I'll tell you who they are. First of all, the general public. Right? I've talked about the currency issue. It's important. But right now, the issue of the health sector has really come out tops. That sector needs more attention. That is one sector that the public will be looking to see if indeed the minister is going to pay attention to requirements related to staffing, related to equipment, related to medication. Those three, they are very critical in our economy at the moment, or in our country at the moment, and the public will be looking to the minister to do something about it. The second thing which also the general public will be looking for is supportive policies for growth. We have seen that there is a lot that is happening in the mineral sector, for example. But at the end of the day, the net benefit to the economy, what is happening? What is going to be the net benefit, especially when you consider that our mining sector is dominated by foreign interests. If you look at lithium, for example, so many projects taking place across the country, they are all welcome. But what will be the net benefit at the end of the day? This is what the public is looking for. So the minister has to come up with a concoction that will enable not just for the foreign investors to get their worth, but also for the country itself. It's not sufficient when we talk about, I'll give you an example. When we talk about Prospect Lithium.
Yes.
It's good that they are assisting or doing corporate social responsibility in the areas immediately around them.
Yes.
But is that the benefit? No. We need greater benefits. So I'm saying the minister has to spell out specific measures to ensure that the administration of social safety nets is as per the policy guidelines.
Yeah.
That's very important. And also taking into account we are going into a year, a new season, a new agricultural season, when it is expected that the El Nino effect is going to be with us. And we know the El Nino effect is always very negative when it comes to Zimbabwe agricultural production.
Absolutely. Mr. Farai, I'm hoping to cut you short with more information that you'll bring to us. But most definitely, we are looking at some of these policies. We have just noted you speaking about the health sector, the mining sector, as well as a contribution to the everyday Zimbabwean. But for now, we want to tackle more policies. And when we come back, most definitely, we'll be having more conversation here with an economic expert, as you have heard, Mr. Farai Zizhou. This is Economics 101. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and this is Economics 101. Yes, your current affairs program. We have invited economic expert Mr. Farai Zizhou. We were speaking about Treasury, Mr. Farai Zizhou, that Treasury should pay cognizance to some of the important groups within the everyday Zimbabwean structures. One, a local publication that did report that 1.5% growth domestic product that is cited in ZimStats as that is where our economy is standing. We also want to look at an international publication that was looking at a 5.3 growth by the end of the year, which is a few months from now.
Well, statistics can be used to tell stories differently depending on who the originator is and what the intention of the originator is. Certainly, our reliance should be on the Zimbabwe Statistics, National Statistics Agency, ZimStats. 1.5% growth in GDP for those that are not so well versed in economics. We are saying, you know, this is the additional wealth that is being created in total across the country. Whilst perhaps over 5% is being very optimistic, I would like to believe. But if we look at the performance of the various sectors, perhaps it can give us some insight, because we have seen production in agriculture, for example, breaking records in terms of wheat, in terms of tobacco. It's very commendable. And also high levels even in terms of the staple maize. And if we look at mining, we can see there's been a lot of investment that has taken place. In particular, I mentioned the lithium sector.
Yes, absolutely.
A lot of investment, and we have seen processing plants that have been put up. And as we speak right now, they have already started production. And so in my view, that is additional wealth that is being created.
And surely can you say that with some of these statistics, we are looking at a time in which the mining sector itself can be attributed to just that 1.5% and not even necessarily be the entire gross figure?
Absolutely. That would actually be my own prediction, is that that sector is actually contributing probably even more than the 1.5% on its own. That's my belief.
Okay, absolutely. And what can we say? Because we are speaking about Zimbabwe having the backbone with regards to agriculture as well as the manufacturing sectors. How well are those sectors doing with regards to performance?
Well, the manufacturing sector, from the reports that I've got, unfortunately I'm not in that sector anymore, but I understand that the sector has performed reasonably well in the circumstances, to a point where when we look at supermarkets, for example, they are a telling point where we see that the reports say that about 70% of products that are on the shelves actually come from the local sector. Of course, it's both agriculture and manufacturing. that in itself is a telling point. But yes, there are still concerns as regards areas such as the availability of foreign currency. It's never enough, but I believe that this is an area that the minister can pay attention to, as to how to incentivize the manufacturing sector so that it performs better than it has done up to now.
And we want to pay attention to the prevailing economic environment that is currently taking place in our country. And what do you think could be the long-term measures?
When we look at the medium to long term, we have to look at, in fact, let's call it macroeconomic stability. This is a term that we often use, but maybe many people get lost. What are we talking about? Macroeconomic stability, we are talking about a stable exchange rate. We are talking about low inflation. We are talking about an environment that encourages savings. So if we look at the NDS 1, the National Development Strategy 1, and we look at the requirements for attaining the 2030 vision of an upper middle income economy. Now, these policy pronouncements actually are saying, let us ensure first that we are producing at the maximum in all the sectors, and specifically when we look at the productive sectors, that is mining, agriculture, construction, or even the tourism sector or hospitality sector is also considered to be a productive sector. So incentivize them. Perhaps the trick is, how do you incentivize them? But incentivizing, the productive sectors requires at least those critical areas I've mentioned, which is low inflation, stable exchange rate, and availability of exchange rate, especially when it comes to the manufacturing sector.
Yes.
It's necessary that we continue to upgrade and to innovate. And I'm glad that Education 5 is actually emphasizing the issue of innovation. So the hubs that have been established at our national universities should actually be playing a pivotal role in transforming research that is done at our institutions of higher learning into industrial production. That is how other countries have succeeded. If you look at all the countries that have succeeded so far in Asia, in Europe, in the United States. The United States, for example, for me, it's very instructive in that the level of innovation in the United States is very high. And this is how it has been able to become #1 economy in the world. And you can see that China is following suit. And we know that if we look at the statistics, it's getting there. So for us, there is no way we can think of growing without actually innovation at our level.
Absolutely.
We can do it.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
No, thank you for that contribution. And we want to track a little bit more about innovation, as well as some of the things that we can do with regards to making our economy better from grassroots level. For now, we'll take a short break. We are still here with Mr. Farai Zizhou here on Economics 101. Thank you very much, viewers. This is indeed Economics 101. We are back with the third and final segment here on your program on ZBCTv. Now, my name is Kurtley Gwindi. In studio, I am joined by Mr. Farai Zizhou. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
Now let's talk all things to do with the national currency as well, vis-a-vis our foreign currency that we are using. And please, can you elaborate? Because we are talking about over 40 rare minerals that we have here, and we are envied in the region and beyond. Why can't we have a stable currency just based on that little information?
Thank you so much. You know, the issue of rare minerals, rare earth minerals, to me is very interesting. Actually, rare earth minerals are not that rare at all. In fact, they are the most plentiful. They are found everywhere. The problem with rare earth minerals is in their commercial exploitation. But perhaps for us, we need to look at what are the strategic minerals that we have. For me, that is key. And we know that with the ongoing energy transition in the world, lithium is one of them. And I believe that we need to do a lot more as regards our exploitation of lithium resources. As you will be aware, actually the resources are available almost across the board in almost all provinces, of Zimbabwe. And our contribution in the world, I'm sure it is going to actually rise above the 6th level that we are counted on at the moment. That is when we take into account all the, at number 6, we are really talking about Bikita only. But we have all these other Kamativs, the Zulu lithium, I would talk entire green belt.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's lots of lithium around. So that area we need to be more strategic in terms of how we exploit it, how we bring benefits to the country. That's just number one. If we look at platinum group metals, there are only 2 countries in the world that account for more than 80% of, the resources that are available in the world. That is South Africa and Zimbabwe.
Yes.
And there is no way that we can let this pass without us actually insisting on the PGMs making a better contribution to the economy of Zimbabwe than is happening at the moment.
Absolutely.
So I'm saying there is need for policy introspection. We need to relook at our policy so that at the end of the day, it's a win-win for the investors and for the people of Zimbabwe. We need that. And then, of course, we have got other less glamorous minerals like iron ore. I'm saying less glamorous because it's not like diamonds, which everyone would be talking about. And yet, in terms of national contribution to, national growth, when we produce steel, it's one of those critical substances or mineral products that is required for construction. There's a lot of construction that is currently taking place across the country. But we are benefiting other people in terms of steel imports. When we look at $400 million US dollars worth of imports every year, when in fact we can do something about it. And I'm glad that the Second Republic has taken on, the Tsingshan group, which is in the process of setting up what is reckoned to be one of the largest steel producers in Africa.
Absolutely. So maybe quite briefly, you can just explain to us what kind of policies are we looking forward to, perhaps in this second dispensation, like you said, or within the second tenure of new policymakers, some who are manning some of these ministries and positions for the first time?
Right. It's probably, it's not a function that could be attributed only to the Minister of Finance. Because the Minister of Finance, of course, has got a critical role in terms of ensuring, first, that there is economic stability. Second, that there are incentives that are put in place. But we have got other ministries, like Minister of Mines, Minister of Agriculture,
of Transport and Infrastructure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All these, they play a role in terms of facilitating, the production. So collaboration between the players, the government itself, as well as the private sector, the issue of renewable energy. In fact, talking about renewable energy, my suggestion would be, why not have all government offices powered by renewable energy, by solar? Why not? It can be done.
Yes.
Yeah, the private sector has shown us that it is possible. So why not do it as a policy? Start with this budget and say, this is what we are going to do. It's a long-term project, but we are going to do it. I think we can do.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Perhaps we also need to look at the institution of a savings culture. Because right now, how many of our people have got a bank account that has got savings? Very few.
Very few.
Then we also want to look at transparency in the management of reserves. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe announced earlier on that it is now collecting royalties in the form of actual gold. There's lithium, I don't know in what form. It would be maybe lithium carbonate, I don't know. Diamonds, in terms of actual diamonds. And then the platinum group metals in terms of the actual platinum and, rhodium and the other.
Absolutely, yes.
So that is necessary to form the base for our local currency. We need it because we can grow our reserves in that format, and we say directly that any currency that we are going to issue will be backed by gold or by diamonds or by the PGM group. This is necessary. That provides a stable environment.
We hate to cut you short here on Economics 101. Indeed, Mr. Farai Zizhou. Fortunately, our time has been cut short, but most definitely thank you so much for coming to the show, sir.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. This is Economics 101, your weekly program here on ZBC's News and Current Affairs desk that keeps you up to date with the Vision 2030 of our Second Republic. Now, my name is Kurt Lee Gwindi. Indeed, it is a pleasure. Pleasant viewing.